Hi, friends. Hello, hello. Tonight we're going to discuss the most interesting recent immigration news with me, attorney Alena Shautsova. We're going to talk about Florida and the fact that Governor DeSantis announced that local law enforcement is going to be used to enforce federal immigration laws. We will talk about new immigration bill, Canadian Snowbird Act, and of course, new immigration reform proposal. We will talk about TPS termination for Afghanistan, and I'm going to also share with you some updates from immigration courts and USCIS. So thank you very much for joining. Again, my name is Alena Shautsova. I'm a New York immigration lawyer. I use my social media to update you on the most recent interesting immigration news, and also in the end, I share my thoughts and tips and answer your guys' questions. So please join me. Like, share this stream, send me your hearts if you're watching me on TikTok, send me likes and stars if you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, please type up your questions because in the end, I'm going to be answering your immigration questions live. And let's start. So guess what's happening in Florida? Florida, of course, always surprises us, or by now maybe it doesn't. I do not know, right? So what's going on in Florida is that Governor DeSantis announced that state troopers are going to have power to enforce immigration laws, federal immigration laws, including detention, apprehension, detention of people who are believed to be in Florida in violation of US federal laws, and also to apprehend, detain those who have federal warrants. It means that these troopers will be connected, I guess, to federal immigration database. And let's say they stop somebody in connection with a traffic violation, and if they check and find out that the person doesn't have status, they will be able to act as eyes. I believe that at some point will be stopped by the courts, but that's the new initiative coming from Florida. By the way, Florida is not the only state that's trying to do that. We've seen, especially last year, that a number of states were trying to implement their own local immigration laws. I believe in Oklahoma, in Tennessee, Florida, and usually those new implementations fail after federal courts get involved. But this time around, I truly, really do not know what's going to happen. But if you reside in Florida, you need to know about this new thing. Okay. Well, on a positive note, what I would believe is a positive note, yep, here we go. Governor DeSantis, Florida state troopers can now conduct immigration operations. So, on a positive note, what we are seeing is that finally our lawmakers woke up and they started introducing various bills. So, one bill, Canadian Snowbirds Act, will help Canadians who are 50 plus years old to stay in the United States longer than 182 days without a visa. There are certain qualifications to use this particular provision. If it becomes the law, it actually has a chance. I'm going to tell you. You would have to be 50 plus years old. You would have to show that you have a lease or you own property in the United States. And of course, you have to show that you don't have immigrant intent, right? And then you will be able to stay in the United States for 240 days. And the act also says that even though you're going to remain in the United States for that long, you will not be subject to taxes in the United States. So, not a bad proposal overall. I do not know why not to extend it for a year, for example, whatever the issue is, but as I said, the good thing, positive thing that we see at least somebody's trying to do something. There is a representative from Arizona that also introduced his immigration plan as to how to fix our entire immigration system. He says that we don't need to choose between the border security and immigration reform. And his proposal has 5 main points that include border security, asylum, um, additional visas in various preference-based categories, pathway to citizenship for dreamers and spouses of US citizens and lawful permanent residents, and also, of course, some provisions, some minor provisions related to immigration as a whole. Um, Basically, his proposal encompasses all different proposals that we've heard within the past couple of years. Not a bad plan. Again, something is better opposed to nothing, but it's just a plan so far. We're going to see what's going to happen. I personally think that many lawmakers are on board with what he is saying, but the momentum, I'm not sure if it's right or not. Of course, the timing will never be perfect, but at least somebody is trying to do something, which is finally amazing because nothing has been done for such a long time in terms of immigration proposals, right? There was one proposal, reintroduction of certain act, a couple of months ago, but it was very poorly discussed by the press, so there was no much discussion related to it. But this one, the one that I just mentioned, actually did receive some good coverage by the media. Now, TPS ends for Afghanistan, effective July 12th, 2025. Extremely important update for people from Afghanistan, those who have only TPS and nothing is going for them. People, time to file for asylum if you qualify. I do not believe that those of you who entered the United States did not have a good reason to flee Afghanistan, especially women. I feel if you are a woman from Afghanistan, you automatically should be qualified for asylum in the United States with everything that's going on there. All right. But again, I cannot pre-qualify anybody through this, questions and answers. I just would like you to understand that it's a serious thing. The government of the United States announced that they are ending TPS for Afghanistan. Your guys' work permit will expire effective July 12th, 2025. If you are legally employed in the United States, your employer will have to re-verify your eligibility to be employed in the United States starting July 13th, 2025, which is like what, in 2 months. All right, you need to know about this. Please consult with lawyers to see what options you may have, unless you would like to return to Afghanistan, of course, right? Now, very important update regarding courts. Those of you who have administratively closed cases, and I spoke about this about a month ago because I already started seeing notices to recalendar cases. Now we have reliable information as confirmed by American Immigration Lawyers Association that by July something, I had the date here in my notes. What's going to happen by the mid-July? Well, the government, July 9, 2025, the government is going to start filing motions to recalendar your cases, and you're going to have 10 days to object. All right? Many of you had lawyers who helped your cases to be administratively closed. So guess who is going to receive that notice of that motion? It's going to be your attorney. Okay, your lawyer is going to receive. And you better stay in touch with them, because if you don't, or something, God forbid, happened with that attorney, you may not even know that your case is going to be recalendared. So please make sure to periodically log in using your A number to the EOIR immigration system and check if your case has been scheduled for a hearing. Imagine you moved. You stopped being in the communication with that old lawyer who closed your case 5 years ago. The court sends them a notice. Somehow everything gets mishandled. You missed your court date, you're going to be automatically ordered deported. It's a serious thing. Please stay on top of your case. Finally, I wanted to share with you a little update with regard to Real ID and USCIS entry. Well, guess what? So far, security officers at USCIS facilities, they don't really pay much attention to that Real ID Act. I haven't seen anybody being harassed or not allowed to enter the USCIS buildings because of this Real ID issue. However, I did read on our little board, our forum for lawyers, that in certain locations, they did start checking and asking for Real ID compliant documents when you're trying to enter federal buildings. So just make sure you either you get that Real ID, which is a driver's license or state ID that is verified, has a special star in its top right corner, or you have a Real ID compliant document, which, by the way, your foreign passport is a Real ID compliant document, or your work permit. If you have that interview or you have some appointment with USCIS office, you do not want to have a situation when you showed up but you were denied entry, right? Very important. And now if you guys have questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you very much for your patience. I do hope you find these updates helpful, so please like and share this stream, and don't forget to subscribe so that we will meet each other again. And let's start. Hi, Gingermare. Is it true that green card holders can sponsor undocumented spouse legal entry as an F1? Thank you and happy weekend. Hi, Ginger. So a green card holder can start the process by filing I-130. But unlike with the spouses of US citizens, that I-130 is not going to help non-citizen spouse to immediately file for adjustment of status, unless, of course, the person who is a non-citizen maintained their lawful non-immigrant status in the United States and their priority date is current per visa bulletin. All right, so that's what's happening. Usually you can start the process, but then the person will have to wait, if they overstay their visa, to wait until the green card holder becomes a US citizen. That's how it usually works. All right. Hi, Marat. Update in my 42B. In 2011, verbal approval. I guess there's something else going on. 325 grant letter, 513 ordered green card. It's coming soon in the mail, hopefully. It's exactly 4 years wait time after verbal approval. Well, hey, listen, congratulations. You got it on time. Well, everything that's happening, this is very good news. I'm very happy for you. I know that you've been following my channel for a while, so I'm very, very happy that everything worked out. Hi, Zanail. I have a question. If someone has a removal order granted and has an I-130 pending, what should they do after the removal order get canceled? All right, so if you mean that your case is going to be reopened, then you will be filing for potentially adjustment of status. Usually, if you're adjustable and you have a legal entry, that's what you're going to be doing, okay? If you don't have a legal entry, then you will have to terminate that case against you to file for I-601A waiver, usually, all right? Hi, MD. Hi, Elvis. After I-360 approval, how long does National Benefit Center keeps I-45s nowadays before sending them to local office? It depends. Sometimes you would get I-45 approved within like 6 to 7 months, and sometimes it takes them 2 years. All right, sometimes it's a very long time. Now, you patient guys from TikTok, thank you very much for being such a good crowd. Let me see what questions you guys have. Thank you for joining, everybody. Let's see. Thank you guys very much for your gifts. How long does it take to receive, result from the Board of Immigration Appeals? Some people will have to wait for 2 years for their decisions. 2 years, sometimes only 6 to 8 months. We really do not know what it depends on, because sometimes people say, well, in detained cases, the decision comes faster. It's true, But I've seen fast decisions not from detained cases, so I really do not know what's happening with them. Hi, Lucky 31. I have a DUI conviction in New York in 2021. Should I travel outside the United States? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do not travel outside with that conviction. Please, not right now. For some reason, we've seen a lot of negative enforcement. Well, for some reason, we know the reason, but people who have DWIs, DUIs, if you have that in your record, consult with an attorney prior to filing for citizenship, prior to filing for a green card, prior to traveling if you are a green card holder, and if you are on a visa. A lot of negative information. All of a sudden, immigration is focusing on that particular issue, and people truly lose their benefits, immigration status. So just be careful, all right? Hi, Bella. Would USCIS officer ask for real ID at interview, or your foreign passport would be okay? Guys, so what they don't ask for that at the interview. That's not what they're looking for. You will be checked if you have a real ID compliant document, which your foreign passport is, when you're trying to enter the building. The officer does not need to see your real ID to proceed with the interview, okay? But to enter the building, this is when it's important, all right? Hi, 0104-2024. I have a question. I was submitting March 17 work permit. Still, I haven't approved. I do not know what's wrong. What category your work permit was for? If you give me more information, maybe I'll give you better answer. Typically, though, if it's C8 and it's the first time you filed for it, you should receive your work permit fast if you qualify for it. However, if you had criminal arrest charges in your record and you're filing for extension of the work permit based on asylum pending, you may be denied these days. Okay, there are reports that people with records are denied work permits in C8 categories. All right, let me see. Guys, if you would like to have confidential consultation, a consultation, with me one-on-one, you have to make an appointment with my office. Please call 917-885-2261, 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and my secretaries will help you to have that appointment scheduled. All right. Hi, Flexi. Will I get my EAD approved if I work illegally? If you work illegally, I guess sometimes it depends. It depends what you're filing for and how you qualify for that work permit. Let's say you married a U.S. citizen, then your illegal employment will be forgiven, and it will be not an issue to receive your work permit. Okay. Okay, I just got my work approved. Hi, Catherine. Just got my work permit approved through VAWA after 4 months. What's next? Well, next will be nothing for a very long time. You'll have to wait for the government to make decision on your VAWA application and then your adjustment of status application. Unless you received C34 work permit, it means that VAWA was approved, and now there will be next step. You will be waiting for your I-45 approval. Okay. Hi, Mona Bill. Can we travel after granted asylum with travel document and homeland passport? No, you cannot use your homeland passport anymore. Only travel document, okay? Only travel document. Forget about that passport. Hi, Lilith Raid. If you are, I guess, a U.S. citizen child, if you're a U.S. citizen child, all right, not sure, let me see. If your U.S. citizen child do an adjustment of status for parent, USCIS note they view evidence but child doesn't hear anything else, should we worry? All right, so you checked in online and you see that there is a message your case get actively reviewed, but you don't hear anything from USCIS? No, you do not need to be worried. Those messages are garbage. They don't really give you any information, any hope, any timeline. Very often you're going to be opening your case, online case status, and you're going to see it's going to be 14 days prior to us making a decision. And you keep plugging in every day, and then it says it's going to be only 1 day, and they will make a decision. And you log in, and you don't see decision. You see that the clock restarted, and now you have to wait another 7 months. So only official notices matter, the ones that you receive by mail. The only time when USCIS updates are helpful is when you see that they sent a message saying that they actually mailed you something and you never received. But usually, if it happens, there is a second part of the message. They're saying that if you do not receive our mail by such and such date, call customer service and we're going to resend it. Then those updates are helpful. That's the only time. All other times, we are reviewing your case. The next stage is interview. It's absolute garbage. I do not even know why they bother placing them, because they're useless. Hi, Priscilla. My friend just found out that someone submit I-130 using her name as a wife. Oh, and USCIS even approved it. That's wild. That's completely wild. Your friend must write a notarized letter to USCIS saying that they never agreed to be someone else's spouse. Okay? How can it be? Because they have to provide evidence. They have to provide a marriage certificate. Honestly, that's just weird. Unless it's just a person with the same name. This is just awkward. But if records were forged, your friend must contact USCIS as soon as possible. I do not know how they were able to find this information, but if they did and there is some kind of a tracking number to the petition, they absolutely have to reference it and explain that they're not that person's spouse. Isn't it wild? Somebody just claimed you as their spouse. This is like the wildest thing I've heard so far. Hi, Richard. Can one file for an EB2 national interest waiver from abroad? Yes, they can. The petitioner, however, had a past order of removal in absentia after he departed the United States to attend to his very ill mother. File a motion to reopen first. No, EB2 national interest waiver has nothing to do per se with that order of removal. Once and if EB2 national interest waiver petition is approved, then that order of removal becomes relevant because you will have to show that you are admissible, and the order of removal makes you inadmissible. Now, there is something called departure bar. Departure bar. Sometimes USCIS, not USCIS, the courts say that once you depart the United States, after the order of removal, they no longer have jurisdiction to reopen your case. And usually you would have to seek a waiver instead. Again, there are some very limited exceptions to this situation. So why don't you work with an attorney? But again, EB2 national interest waiver can be filed and approved from overseas, and by itself, it's not connected to the order of removal that you received, okay? All right, I have stamp. Hi, Arodi Farms. Thank you for your gift. I have a stamp I-551 in my passport. Is it safe to travel? I'm in removal condition with extension for 4 years. You know what? I'm going to tell you that it's not safe to travel. I just encountered a case where a person was in the same situation, was traveling multiple times on that extension based on I-751 pending. And the last time they tried to enter the United States, they were detained at the border. They were told that their I-751 petition was denied, but they never received the denial. Not only they never received the denial, only months prior, they also traveled and were admitted to the United States as a lawful permanent resident. But now, without any notice, CBP stated that, according to their information, I-751 was denied. The person is in detention, charged as an arriving alien, very bad situation. Government argues they're not eligible for release, not eligible for bond. So, I would say do not travel unless you absolutely have to, and unless you can absolutely verify that your case is in fact pending and it's not going to be denied during the time of your travel. It means your travel has to be super short. And again, sometimes you can't just predict that, right? What if USCIS officer makes a decision the next day after your departure? I don't think it's safe, because I'm telling you what's happening. Previously, in this situation, the government would allow you in and would allow you an opportunity to file that motion to reopen, or whatever you need to file to fight for your status. Now they won't. So I would say don't travel. Okay? That's what I would tell you. Unless you have like very important reason and you are willing to take that risk of potentially not being let in back to the United States. Okay? All right. Hi, Rashad. If someone has a real ID, then is it also necessary to carry green card also while going outside? Yes, of course. Green card is what allows you to get back into the United States. Real ID is for federal purposes. Real ID, well, there are certain real IDs that will allow you to travel outside, I think to Mexico or Canada, but always have your green card on you. By law, you have to have your green card on you, just so you know. All right? That's what it is. All right, let's see. Let's see. Hi, Mess. January 2016. During the Obama administration, my case was referred to an immigration judge. Asylum case, all right. So what happened afterwards? Was the case administratively closed? Tell me more. What's going on with that? Again, remember, I just shared with you guys an update that if you had an administratively closed case, chances are it will be reopened by mid-July. Hi, Firas from TikTok. Filing for divorce. Meanwhile, I-751 pending 19 months. Despite divorce takes 8 to 9 months. All right. So when your divorce is finalized, you're going to have to amend your I-751 petition. That's how it works, right? That's what's going to happen. Hi, Maya. I was granted asylum 3 years ago, but have not received an I-94. Whoa, can I get an I-94? You should have called USCIS long time ago. Well, call them now. All right. So what was happening with those I-94s? At some point, you had to proactively seek it. You had to make an appointment with USCIS. At other times, we were told that the court is going to automatically transmit information, send information to USCIS, and they will issue that I-94 for you. Nowadays, I do not know. You said that you were granted asylum 3 years ago. Listen, call the court, call the USCIS customer service, explain the situation, make sure you have proof that your asylum was granted. Okay? That's going to be very important for you. Hopefully you have it, right? Just make sure you have it. All right. Hi, can one travel with advanced parole now with no criminal record? Emma, do not recommend anyone to travel at this time. Again, if your pending benefit is denied while you're overseas, you will be denied entry. Please understand. So it's a serious thing these days. It was different before. Now CBP is very strict. You do not want to be in this terrible situation when you're fighting for your case from immigration detention or from overseas. All right, guys, don't forget please to subscribe and follow. Hi, Govinda. Anyone who is in detention center can hire any people from any nationality as a sponsor? What do you mean by that? Tell me. Hire people from any nationality? Immigration sponsors are usually not for hire. Okay, so if government knows that you paid somebody money so that they will say that they will be good to you and will host you once you are from out of immigration detention, I don't think they're particularly going to like that. So, okay. The idea is that you're going to have a friend or family member who's going to be helping you out. That's what it is. If we talk about people who help you with bond and say that you're going to be residing with them while the immigration case is being heard, I guess that's the question, right? Now let's see what we have here. All right, I got a 10-year green card to going to Jordan in summer, but my lawyer advised me not to go. Then don't go, Mohammed. You just don't go. Follow your lawyer's advice. Maybe there is something in your case that the lawyer knows best. Then please do not go there, okay? I'm telling you guys, nowadays something really interesting happening. Never seen it before. People get stuck, people not allowed entry, people are accused of interesting things, they're placed in detention. You do not want to be in that immigration detention. All right? So if you absolutely do not have to go, do not go. Stay in the United States until things are going to be cleared up. Very, very important. All right. Let's see. Right. Do we have more questions here? Hi, John. I did my interview on the 7th of this month, I guess, and it was approved on the 8th. Am I still waiting for my green card? Well, you're going to be waiting for your green card until you're going to receive it. Usually it takes an officer, a couple of days to order it, and you would wait for a week or two to receive it. So if everything goes well, by the end of this month, you're going to receive your green card. All right. Let's see if we have more questions. All right. I have a DUI conviction. Yes, guys, with DUI convictions, you have to be very careful. You have to consult with an attorney, whatever status you have, because as I said, you even may be denied work permits these days if you have conviction of any sort these days. Hi, user 351. I'm in step 3 in National Visa Center. I am category F3. What papers I need for a sponsor in my case? Your affidavit of support, you mean? Well, the government website actually tells you what documents they need. And trust me, until you submit all the documents, they're not going to qualify your case to proceed further to the interview step. Typically, you will have to upload documents proving relationship. You'll have to upload documents proving financial ability of your petitioner to sponsor you, qualifications for affidavit of support. Maybe you need a joint sponsor. You also usually have to produce documents about lack of, hopefully, criminal record, right? Things like that. You will have to submit Form DS-260. But again, the SEAC website, Department of State website that collects these documents, Department of State website rather, tells you what documents you need, and National Visa Center through SEAC system collects those documents. So there is no way you will miss documents there. Because if they believe that you didn't submit something, they will not allow your case to proceed to that interview stage. And if you need help, please reach out to our office. We'll be happy to handle that for you. Of course, we do charge a fee. I am a private lawyer, not a non-for-profit, okay? All right. Hi, Sean. Thank you for your service. You are welcome. Regarding your visa, how long does it take before receiving the work permit after biometric appointment? A year and a half in most cases. If you have a U visa pending, it takes a long time and nobody knows exactly when you're going to receive your work permit. It does take some time. That's one of the slowest ways to receive that work permit. The good thing is that if you qualify for the U visa, it's a very good benefit in terms of if you had any previous immigration violations, it is the benefit that is the most forgiving for various types of immigration violations, right? Hi, Veronica. I have DACA. I just married a US citizen. How long should I wait to start the residency process? Veronica, if you're ready with documents proving real marriage, you don't need to wait. Provided that you have a legal entry, you don't need to wait. You can file the next day, but you need to show that you guys have a real marriage. So if you live together for a while prior to entering into marital union, then you will have documents like statements from joint bank accounts, utility bills, and so on and so forth, and you are ready. If you haven't lived together, then you will have to wait for some time before you can collect those documents because USCIS needs those documents to determine if you have a real marriage. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for tonight. This was our live. We discussed the most interesting immigration news, updates from Florida, updates on various immigration bills, proposals for immigration bills, TPS for Afghanistan, and updates from the court and real IDs. If you like the stream, please like and share it. Don't forget to sign up for my social media. I hold the streams regularly, usually a couple times a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. If everything goes well, we're going to meet again on Friday. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.